Hello class, this is lesson number 9, Windows Management. A very easy, it's a kind of a complicated sounding title for a study, but it's actually a fairly simplified approach to managing your Windows environment. So I'll be using my laptop to demonstrate this to you. We're looking at how to log on and log off the computer, identifying elements, manipulating windows, starting programs, switching between windows, using desktop folders and icons, managing files, identify strategies for working with files, and solving some common file problems. Vocabulary here, and you'll see that later when you get to your lesson in Blackboard. We begin, of course, looking at a lot of things in this that you already do. So I feel pretty confident that all of you know how to log on and log off the computer, and that turning on the computer is not a problem. I believe everybody knows how to do that. And logging on, you would not be watching this video lecture. Of course, to log off, clicking the start button, that is, and pointing to the shutdown arrow that you see here. So when we shut down an unresponsive application, though, as it happens not as frequently with Windows as it used to, we want to be able to shut down an unresponsive application, something that's just, as I like to say, it's hung up in the memory. At your keyboard, you would press and hold down Control and Alt key with your left hand, and then press the delete key, and you would get a start task manager, and you would get something like this. So you would see and hear the problem program, and you would click on it and then click End Task. Looking at the Windows environment so that we can learn how to manage it, several things have specific names. So all the little objects that you have on your desktop are called icons. Up at the top left hand corner of Windows 7 environment, at least, we're not looking at Windows 8 yet, we have the recycle bin, so we can discard what we have deleted. So Windows kind of holds in a little trash can for us, kind of like the trash can in your house. Until you put it out there in the trash can for pickup or haul it off yourself, those items are still on your property and close by. So that's the way Windows does too. And it holds the things in the recycle bin, and you have to decide its ultimate fate by right-clicking and emptying the recycle bin from time to time. So they're there in case you need to restore them. The desktop contains 3 sections. The taskbar here at the bottom, you can see mine. I have lots of different things in my taskbar. The start button, that is just the Windows symbol now. If the former version of Windows before Windows 7, Windows 98 was it? Had the actual word start there. And then the middle section, which contains the wallpaper up here. They call this the middle. It's the desktop area, and is what I like to call it. So it has all the open windows, just like you're seeing here with the PowerPoint presentation, and all your other program and document icons, and I call these they're document type of icons, but they're folders. We can customize the icons, and this may not work on your system in the classroom. You may have to do it on your home computer to experience it, where you have complete permissions. You right click on an empty space on the desktop to display a shortcut menu and click personalize. So we'll do that. Right click, and then you look down here at the bottom and personalize will show up. And let me make this a little smaller, which is something you can do if you haven't tried that yet. You can hover until your mouse turns into a double arrow, and then left click and hold down and push it in and out. You do that at the corner. Make it smaller. Then you can click change desktop icons. And you can see them listed here. So I've only got checked just the main computer icons and the recycle bin. So if you don't like the way that looks, you can change that from a trash can to something else. Okay? And I would not recommend modifying all the user files. Alright. Other graphical elements you would find on there might be a gadget. I have a big clock over here. It's kind of nice. You can load all kinds of gadgets. You just want to remember loading gadgets will take up memory. Not very much, but you don't want to load like 10 or 15 of them. Just the major ones that give you the most information at hand, which I kind of like the old school clock looking thing there. So you can click on gadgets after you right click on the desktop area, and you can see various gadgets that are available as a default, and then you can go online and get more. There's some pretty cool ones out there. So it was Windows' attempt at being kind of like Mac, the Mac system. They've had gadgets for quite a while. Manipulating a window, we can click the minimize button and hide the window, and it forces it down to this taskbar. And then you can click on that particular icon in the taskbar and it'll maximize on its own. Well, maximize or return to the original starting size. So maximizing is pressing the middle button here, left clicking on it to maximize. And Windows remembers the size you last adjusted it to. So if I were to make this real tiny, then maximized, and then minimized. Okay. The restore down button to display the window in less than a full screen. So really that's restore down and restore up, or maximize. The button in this position becomes the maximize button after you click the restore down button. Okay. Like so. Of course, close button closes the window. When multiple windows are open on your desktop, the one you're working with is called the active window. So right now, the PowerPoint window I have open is the active window. We have online support. There is Windows Remote Assistance. There are Microsoft Answers you can go online to. And of course, for the serious problems, go to Microsoft Customer Support for that wonderful customer service feeling. Starting programs and switching between windows. Let's look at identifying the operating system version now. So we go to the Start button and we click on Computer and System Properties, and you get a page of information about your current computer and the operating system installed. So you can see on my laptop I've got 8 gig. My Windows Experience Index, which it rates your computer and your Windows specifications and the type of Windows system you're using, and gives you a, I think it's out of 5 points. My memory. Let's see what we've got. No, it's I guess out of a 6-point system. 5.5, 5.9. So it rates all your systems from 1.0 to 7.9. Is that strange or what? And so my hard disk transfer rate is not so good. It's pretty high. My graphics needs improvement. Memory calculations is fairly high. And so, you know, for a 7-year-old computer, laptop, I guess I can't complain. The desktop folders and icons, we can add folders, icons, and shortcuts to the desktop, which I have done here, and you can see I've got many, of course, school-related type of folders and various production icons, that program icons that I use, all my AutoCAD over here, various PDFs that I refer to, academic plan folder, what have you, the fall course folder in here. So simply by right clicking in the desktop area and going to new, you can create a folder and give it a name. Right click on it and delete it if you want to. Okay, let's see. Then a shortcut's an icon that represents a link to an item rather than the item itself. So you can see all these things with a little arrow on them are shortcuts. And if you right click on one of those and go to Properties, you'll see where it's linking to. And in this case, AutoCAD is linking to its executable file located in the product folder of AutoCAD or Autodesk. So acad.exe. Let's see exactly where it is. You can click once and then arrow over all the way and see that it's in the program files. Autodesk, AutoCAD 2014 is where it is located. Whoops. We'll click cancel. I'm not sure what I started to change there. Didn't know that I was. So a shortcut is an icon that represents a link to an item. You can create a link to a web page, link to a program, and when you install a program, it pretty much will create or ask you if it can create icons on your desktop for you. Now, managing files we have a computer window especially for that, a Windows Explorer window they call it, and usually that folder is down here, or button, your icon, you're going to see it looks just like a folder. It should be in your taskbar area, and once you click on that, it'll go to, usually default to libraries. So your basic documents, music, pictures, and videos for basic types of file that you have on a computer for a Windows system. Now over here I've got many, you can see many different types of shortcuts, or favorites they call it, and I call them shortcuts as well, where I can just click on a particular folder and see, go directly to that folder. Okay. We can create a new folder. We can include in the library, if we want to, select some files and then include them over there in that library. We have opportunity to organize the layout to show details at the bottom or not. As you click on a folder, give you some details about that particular folder or file. This takes up room. The navigation pane is up here, so I kind of like that on. And of course you can manually select something and click open. You can do it that way. Usually I just double click, and again, the new folder button here. Now some of you may or may not have the burn button, and the burn button will burn those or copy those to a blank CD or DVD, whichever your system supports. Types of files. We have system files, are usually found in Windows, and as a default, Windows will hide those from the user, even though you may be the only owner and main user of the computer. So let's see, I'll click on my icon down here and bring up my view of folders, and to be able to see hidden files, let's see if mine are turned on. We'll go to Windows folder, and let's see, we'll go down to English US is what that means. So it's kind of looking like it is showing. I've got mine set to where I can view my hidden type of files or system files. So system files are those like icons, DLL files, exe files, things that actually the Windows program will access automatically and use as you are running different programs. Let's look inside of Microsoft. No, we'll look inside of Windows NT. Have no idea what these things do. A lot of text documents, and there's the MUI, multi-user interface type of file. So system files, application files such as an exe file, you'll see from time to time. If you're looking around, rooting around in different program files, you'll see them. So running your various application programs. Then a data file would be like a document, spreadsheet file, a PowerPoint file, an Access file, text file, and in the case of AutoCAD, a DWG file. Now we can change the directory in view files, a directory, folders, container for files and other directories, which we've been doing. So when you click on there, and then you might have to click on local disk or click on documents, and if you've created a folder, or you might have a default folder in your documents folder. Okay, so inside of there, in this particular folder, I've got music, I've got movies, video files, audio files, PowerPoints. Now up at the top is your directory. That's up here. So you can click on one of the arrows to downlist anything that might be related before that particular location of libraries or whatever you might have displayed. So let's just look at fall 2014, what I've got there, and click on not your class. Yeah, we'll click on some AutoCAD, so we can see that the directory listing right before that would put me in any one of these, and so you can do a quick down list and select from over here. So there's many different ways to see it. Now if you double click on the folder itself, over here at the extreme left, you will see the actual specification, hard drive disk operating system specification for its location. The C drive, and so we can navigate around, and you do need to occasionally see the raw specification, and you can do that by clicking the folder, and you can tell exactly what folders in its exact location or directory listing it is. It's Windows uses this disk operating system specification since the very beginning of really personal computers. Okay, we can sort files if we open up a folder, and it has in this case a lot of documents. You can sort by clicking on a particular heading, sort it on date modified, ascending or descending, sort it on the type, click on the date created if you want to sort and look for a particular date. So that's how you sort the files in your folder. And of course, creating folders, we want to do that so that we can store things in an organized fashion and manage them easier. You don't want to just save all your information in one folder or in just the basic My Documents library. You will need to organize them into folders. To manage a file, you have to be able to select it, so we can do a single file by just clicking on the file name, and then if we want to move, copy, or delete, the easiest way and most surefire way, let's say, reliable, is to click on it, and then so click on it once, and then right click on it and then decide what you want to do with it. Cut or delete, copy it somewhere, that puts it on the clipboard, and then you can copy it to a different location. If you do a cut, that will remove it from that location, and then you can paste it somewhere else. Let's see. So to move a file, you could select the file and drag it to a new location. Well, to do that, let's say that I want to put this in a different folder location that's not in this documents library. Hover over your folder icon in your taskbar, hold down your shift key on your keyboard, you're just hovering, and then left click after you hold down your shift key, and you'll open up a new task window, a new folder window, and you can then open that particular location, have them both visible, and then just left click and drag and drop it to that particular folder or one subfolder that you see listed. If we want to retrieve our deleted files, we would double click on there and right click on the file name you want to restore, and then just click on restore. Then to empty the recycle bin, we right click and click on the command for empty recycle bin in the quick menu. We've already looked at this, displaying file properties. So right click on a particular folder or document, and then left click on properties, and you can find the file name, exact location of the file, when it was created, when it was modified, when it was last accessed, security settings, the details about it, and previous versions. Finding files, we have a search window that we can use, and I've been working on my index, so it may not be working, but we can search all of our libraries, let's say, for a particular type of folder or file, and it'll find everything with that in it. So let's just type something in like bales, and press enter, and it'll find everything, any kind of document that you have that might have the search word in it. So every folder that has bales in it. Okay, let's say AutoCAD. Whoops. So everything that has the word AutoCAD in it comes in, or has that word embedded inside of that particular document or folder in the libraries. Now, if you want to do a search over the whole disk, then click on local disk over here under computer and search the entire disk. And I'll probably end up having to stop this search. Yeah, it won't take too long. And once again, every instance of the word AutoCAD, whether it's in the folder location, the directory, or in the folder or document itself, it will display that particular type. Now, if you're looking for everything that's a particular type of document, then you would use the asterisk that's above the 8. So you press Shift asterisk. That's a wildcard for a search, and dot. And let's say we want to see all the documents. DOCX. And it locates every, let's see how many I got. Is it showing the, doesn't show how many, but a lot. Apparently not all of them indexed yet. So it finds all the documents. If I wanted to find spreadsheets, I could go asterisk dot XLS. There's quite a few of those. All right. And hidden files, unless you're doing a little bit more computer management, you don't really need to find any or look at hidden files or have them displayed. We will do a little bit of that when we are looking at AutoCAD, because sometimes a file can be corrupted and we need to restore it, and we can find the hidden file that actually contains our drawing before things might have crashed. So strategies for working with files: of course you want to use names that are easy to remember, and don't abbreviate too much. You don't want to make them too long either. Delete unneeded files and folders, of course. That's something particularly in my line of work that I have to make myself do. Otherwise you have a lot of files that are just hanging around that you never use, and takes up space. So you have to go in there and delete things that you're just never going to use, and it was probably some work files or picture files or something that really will not be of any use. So you have to make some decisions about what to get rid of and why it's unneeded. And of course you can always buy a very good sized backup drive and save those, back up your files and folders, and you want to do that from time to time. You never know when your hard drive is going to stop working. It doesn't run forever. So if you can't find a file, it could be hidden. If you can't open a file, it might be password protected. So if you don't have the password, then you can't open it in some cases. You can't edit a file because it's set up to be read-only, and maybe it's also editing is password protected. Or you just cannot access the file at all. It could be a damaged file and you can't open it. So every file, if you remember when we're talking about how it's stored on a disk, has a marker at the beginning and end of the file. And like I said earlier, your hard drive is not perfect and it's not permanent. It's kind of considered permanent storage, but it's not really permanent. So some of it could be damaged. And particularly if the end of file marker is damaged, you won't be able to open it. You can't open a file in the program that created it That's a pretty strange one. That can happen if it's a newer version of a file and you're running on an older computer with an older version of the program. And you can't save the file because the drive is full. So you could start out a project, get it all ready, and you go to save it, and it says it can't save it because the drive is full. You'll have to just postpone or minimize your project momentarily, your application program, and then go in there and delete some things. So we've learned how to turn it on. We've learned how to log off. You've already been doing that. If you're working with an application and it doesn't start responding, you'll find yourself either just waiting for it to resolve, but usually you can go Control-Alt-Delete, go to Windows Task Manager, and to close the non-responsive application. We learned about the main screen area and the three parts, what the recycle bin does, that there's three sections, the start button, the middle section or the document section, and the document icons on there. In every window, like you see up here, we have close, we have maximize and restore down, and we have minimize. To be able to start a program, we just click on the start button and then click the program name, or we can double click on a program icon and we can open a folder by double clicking on it. We can customize the desktop, create folders, add more icons and shortcuts, delete those, move them, rename these objects. The computer window is designed to also help you find, view, and manage files. I'm not sure about some of it being all that easy. Pretty effective though. So we can examine file types, change the view of the folder, sort the files, manage the folders, select, move, copy, and delete, and rename files, and display file properties, and of course search for different types of files. When we're manipulating files by using standard convention, we want to be sure that we organize the files good, that we keep a folder that's logical, delete unnecessary files, and regularly back up our important files. We also want to be aware of common file management problems, that they can happen and why they happen. And we ran over a list of those. We want to be sure that we name files to preserve their file extension so that they're associated with the proper application. So if you have extensions turned on, which we really didn't touch on, but like in my case, on my computer, I do have my extensions turned on so that I can see them. So that's usually after the last dot and 3 or 4 characters after that determines what type of file it is. And if you have that feature turned on, you can change that particular extension. It'll let you do it, and if you change it, then that will no longer be associated with that particular program. And that concludes our look at Windows management, a very basic introduction to it. So now you'll go and you'll take a quiz that's over this particular lecture.